was a hypo, and I'm like, welcome to Under Two Capes. I am Jared, and this is Sparta!
Wah! Wah!
Yeah, okay, I'll play it. Hang on, where is it? And I'll play it. Where is it? And okay, here we go. Robert has clones.
Hold on, I meant that. Yep, there we go.
It's Robert's clone saga?
Another, I was trying to do 300 myself. Whoa!
And of course, yes, this is the 300th episode of Under Two Capes, so I thought, let's talk about 300. And what's up, Thoth? I figured that was a good idea.
I did that.
I may have stolen that from you, brother. But yeah, so...
Yeah, how about that?
So we got 300, the graphic novel. And this was an interesting one because this is one of the rare times I do non-Marvel or DC. There you go. Robert's got his books. They're probably signed by someone. There you go. So the thing about 300 is that this is one of the rare occasions where this is not a Marvel or DC book. This is Dark Horse.
Mm-hmm.
And so this is done by Frank Miller and Lynn Varley. And this is the type of book that Frank's art style works for so well.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's like scraggly. It's very gritty and tough. And again, Spartan. So that really works for that.
Yep.
And this was also the comic that inspired the movie that would make Zack Snyder a household name, which obviously
and then the inferior follow-up.
Yeah, what was up with that follow-up? And then Cameron says, I need a betting game if Robert's books are signed or not, so I get rich real quick.
No, none of them are signed. None of these are signed.
That would be great. That would be great, Cameron. But yeah, so 300. This is one of the occasions where it is the closest book to screen I have ever seen for something.
Including I would add that up there with Sin City, also by Frank Miller.
Well, yeah, exactly. But this is again, legit what happens in the comic to a T, including the panels, is what happens in the movie.
Mm-hmm. Sorry, I'm just trying to fix something.
Yeah, all right. But yeah, so and with 300, the thing about this story. So what's the story of? So in the ancient world, so it's the story of Thermopylae, where Xerxes was coming to get payback because the Greeks had defeated his father and killed him. So he came to take over Greece, and the Spartans mounted a resistance against the far superior Persian army. And what happened was, and it looks like Robert froze, but yeah, so what happened was the Persian army was outnumbered the Spartans three. Let me put it this way: the Spartans themselves had 300 guys. The Persians had let's say 3,000 per se. Let's say that number, and to give you guys a little a way this transfers over. And then what happened? So the Spartans figured, okay, so there's this narrow pass called the Hot Gates in Sparta that if we can funnel them into the Hot Gates, their numbers don't count for anything. Therefore, if we Robert probably has internet issues. If we hit them, if we make it too bloody for them to stay, if we make it too costly, guess what? They'll have to leave, and then it's all good, and then that will lead to a Spartan victory.
Now, of course, he tries to do everything he can to see what to do, and he goes to the oracles. Turns out the oracles were paid, and the keeper of the oracles were paid.
Yeah, exactly. They were paid to to tell them don't go to war because they wanted Sparta to be easily taken over.
Yep. So they were promised gold and women.
Yeah, exactly. Which that would turn any man against his countrymen. But
Yep. But yeah,
yeah.
and then, but I
Mhm.
love his justification. Oh, I'm not going to combat them. I'm just going for a walk. This is my entourage.
I love that. Yeah, I was going for a walk. These 300 men are my personal bodyguard.
I love that. Because
So,
it's true. That is a technicality that works.
yeah, because the argument was no. The Oracle said the Spartan army couldn't travel. They didn't say I couldn't go somewhere.
And this is my bodyguard.
Yeah, exactly. And of course, a king would need that many things, that many people that are like a bodyguard. They would need that big of a group.
Exactly.
Which so that's really cool. I really dig and I will say again, Gerard Butler as 300, he captured that.
I mean,
as Leonidas, he captured the like.
I love the humor he had.
Yeah, like where he goes, the Persian king would like to meet you, and he goes, I'm gonna go, and he goes, oh, don't you think he's gonna kill you? And he goes, well, if I die, everyone in Sparta goes to war. Besides, there's no reason we can't be civil. My favorite is when Xerxes is like, we could spend a lot of time, we could learn so much by sharing our cultures. And then Leonidas goes, well, haven't you noticed? We've been sharing our culture with you guys all morning.
And of course, I also love the clearly you don't know our women.
I should march them up from what I've like.
I know.
And
of course, also earlier was like, you brought this many soldier. What did you bring? And how many of you? Hoo-ha! I brought more soldiers than you.
Yeah, I know. Exactly. But my other favorite line, it's one that like it went under the radar, but it works really well. It's when Xerxes says, I would sacrifice any of my men for victory. And then Leonidas says, and I would die for any of mine.
Love that.
It shows the difference between the two rulers.
Mm-hmm.
Now, obviously, here's the thing about 300. It's hyper stylized and idealized. Like, obviously, there weren't giant elephants back then. It's meant to be. The entire movie and comic is from the perspective of someone telling the story. And when you're telling the story back then, you're going to embellish. Oh, we fought great monsters.
Yeah. Exactly.
So that's the way that, like, and the other thing that I really dig about this is how it is. It's like with the Spartans themselves, because if you notice, like when they're scouting and they see like that massive Persian army, when the Spartan starts laughing and then he goes, "There's we Spartans live for a perfect death, and there's someone down there that can give me that death."
Yep.
Yeah.
And you also have check your beer. Sorry.
No, it's all good.
Then you also have the one monstrous.
You mean I know who you're talking about. What's the name? The hunchback, Ephialtes.
Ephialtes, and I gotta say, I feel bad for him.
Yeah, because here's the thing. It's the Spartans were a very utilitarian culture, and was the idea that, hey, if you don't contribute to the military, or you are a drain on our resources, you get you're done. They
contributed to the first, but he would have resulted in the second.
Yeah, exactly. It's like if you can't fight, you are discarded.
Yeah, and again, the fact you had a fine thrust, but raise your shield. He can't do it in the phalanx for the phalanx to work.
Yeah, and it's basically the idea that the strongest chain is only as a chain is only as strong as its weakest link.
Yeah, exactly. And he would have been, and again, Leonidas is not being cruel.
No, but he's looking out for his guys, because it's like if Ephialtes can't raise his shield to like cover the phalanx, inevitably what's gonna happen is like an arrow. Let's say an arrow.
One arrow would have gone someone in the leg, but behind him.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like he really has to think of his men first.
Exactly, and now, of course, the poor guy then goes the other way, like, I will tell Xerxes their plan.
Well, what he tells Xerxes actually is so there was a path that led around the Spartan lines that would allow Xerxes to like entrap them. That's what Ephialtes told him.
Mm-hmm.
And you notice, as soon as Leonidas found out what happened, he simply said, "Okay, Spartans, prepare for glory. We're gonna get that death."
Exactly. And it is one of the few things that got carried. This character is one of the few that got carried over in the 300 Rise and Fall of an Empire movie,
which was such a disappointment.
Mm-hmm.
And you notice they tried to replicate that Zack Snyder charm with this movie, with like the slow-mo and stuff, but yeah, it really didn't work that well.
But Xerxes, an interesting figure.
Yeah, it's a guy that thought himself a king. And I love where Leonidas, his last action is to make him bleed.
Yep.
It's like, if you make God bleed, people will stop believing in him.
Yep, exactly. And in the end, everyone knew the lead into the charge.
Yeah, exactly. Which because that's what the death of the Spartans did. What it essentially did was it like united all of Greece around the sacrifice of the Spartans.
Exactly.
Which again, I really a lot of, and it's like with continuing on with this, it's like. And then we also had like the stellar action scenes, like, they're thirsty. Well, let's give them something to drink.
Yep.
To the cliff, and then they just push them off the cliff. And then again, that panel is perfectly like represented in the movie.
Yep.
Like it is extreme. I mean, because do you know the story of how 300 became a movie?
No.
All right. So what happened was, Zack was originally supposed to do I Am Legend. But what happened was there was a mix-up, and that went to a different director.
Yep.
So
I'm aware of that one.
Yeah, and what happened was, so he was having a meeting with like a friend of his at Warner Brothers, and the friend was like, "Hey, if you could do anything you want," because Warner Bros. At this time was like, "Let's make it up to Zack and let him do like a passion project." All right, so Zack, what do you want to do? And then his friend happened to have the graphic novel on his desk and goes, I would do that. In other words, it's like, and he opened to any random page and he goes, we would actually film this, like actually make it look like the graphic novel, which they did.
Mm-hmm.
And like, by the way, there's only one shot in the movie that was done outside. It's when the horses are riding to Sparta in the beginning with the messengers,
right?
So but the rest of it was done in a soundstage with green screen, and that's the other thing that Zack can do really well, is make green screen look good.
By the way, can I show the other book?
Yeah, sure, go ahead.
What a prequel sequel.
All right, so what was Xerxes?
Hold on, let me show it. It is about the fall of the House of Darius and the rise of Alexander. We find out about the origin of Xerxes with his father.
Mm-hmm.
Now, and I gotta say, as bad as the artwork is, it's better than some of the other works we've seen.
Yeah, from Frank. Yeah, the art in the first one is way better.
Well, yeah, but yeah, we get to see about what happened with Xerxes' father being killed, and of course, they're mentioning how you should have killed the boy. He had the stink of destiny about him.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, and that was part of what the movie, the second movie brought on.
Yep, but then we skip ahead. Whoops, sorry.
No, it's all good. But yeah,
but we did find out like his assassination, how the different ways he could have died.
Yeah, exactly. But didn't they show like what could have happened with like Assassin's Creed, where like the assassins kill Xerxes?
Yeah, exactly. They show exactly that, like how the different ways he could have been killed, and then it shows his descendants until it led to the Alexander the Great coming about. But it's like Alexander comes right the heck out of nowhere.
Yeah, exactly.
You remember when we went over it
on
my show? Yeah. And we had basically Alexander, we find out he was actually good friends with the last king, who got slaughtered by his own men.
Oh, really?
Yeah. The last king, the last descendant of Xerxes was killed, assassinated by his own men. And Alexander actually felt bad for his old friend's death. And then he would become the new king, ruler of the world.
Okay, that works. I like that.
But yeah, it's like, really? It took him this long. And again, Xerxes barely has anything to do with this book.
Yeah, I know. And that's a problem with that. Whenever you have that sequel that doesn't really like hit the same notes as like the original that like everyone loves, like Dark Knight Returns 2.
Or Ronin, the Ronin book 2.
Yeah, exactly. That's like the problem with like having these classic storylines that like are seminal, because then you have to follow them up.
Exactly. Now it's quite clear that the Rise and Fall of an Empire took one element from this book and then expanded it because the book wasn't finished yet.
Yeah, exactly.
So they just jumped in ahead.
Yeah, and it's like the problem with the second movie is part of the charm of 300 was the 300 guys. You can't really and I mean you could show more of that, but the problem is the other charm of 300 was the charisma and like the snark of the Spartans.
Exactly.
Yeah, so that's the other part, because if they had made like a Themistocles a little more like humorous, if you will, like they didn't, because it's like, again, we talked about it. The best lines in the movie are when Leonidas is being an asshole to Xerxes, where he goes like, "You obviously have not met our women."
I love that one. You have not met our women.
Yeah, I might as well march them up here, considering what
I've seen.
I love that.
The movie did add a subplot so that his wife could actually have more of a role.
Yeah, and by the way, Lena Headey, she would play a fantastic Hippolyta.
She would. Not a Wonder Woman, but definitely Hippolyta.
Kingdom Come Wonder Woman, yes.
Yes. But yeah, though, again, just throughout all of but yeah, her whole thing was about revealing the traitors.
Yeah, exactly. And that was cool. And she also got her own moment. I like when in the 300 movie, when after the messenger says that this is madness, Leonidas looks to Queen Gorgo for permission to do what he's about to do.
Now, I gotta say this. Going back to 300 Rise and Fall of an Empire, Ava Green was
I didn't like her as the villain. I couldn't really buy her.
She does have a great line. Let's see if you fight as well as you.
Yeah, F-word. Yeah, I know. Or
I love that.
Yeah, yeah. So there were some good lines. It's just the problem is, it's like there wasn't like a lot. There really wasn't a lot of charisma, in my opinion.
The problem was it was similar to her issue in Sin City, the second Sin City movie. She's way too open to doing things that a normal actor would say no, and they'd have to work around.
Yeah, exactly.
Like her being full frontal in the second Sin City movie was gratuitous.
Yeah, exactly. By the video game that was 300 was also really fun. Love the movie, comic, and game. There was a game?
I'm looking that up right now.
Because I need to play that.
It's on PSP.
Oh, god damn it. I don't have a PlayStation.
Mixed reviews.
Of course, mixed reviews. But it's like the other good part, by another great line where he goes, see, rumor has it that the Athenians have rejected you. And if those philosophers and boy lovers can find that type of a type of guts, essentially. I love that.
Now, apparently, Snyder's whole possibly doing more might be adapting other. It's going to adapt the Alexander segments of Xerxes.
Okay, that works.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he is doing a 300 series.
So it's going to be based off of the Alexander side.
Okay, that works. I dig that.
Well, let's be honest. There's a lot of stuff that Xerxes does provide that they just have to expand on. The fact they were able to make a whole movie out of one small segment says a lot.
Yeah, exactly. And you know what's kind of funny with that whole segment, you definitely feel like the story's being stretched with that, because I get the Battle of Salamis, which was the first naval battle in history. You could do a pretty solid movie about that. It's just the problem is when you lock it to 300, like 300, the Xerxes part that they adapted for 302 was just the beginning, where it's like, here's how Darius died.
And also, I do not like how it went from he could be a god to he's not even a god. He's just being raised up by this woman.
Yeah, they took the pants off of him, essentially, because it's like all of a sudden he's not the king, or like he's not altogether the ruler. He's instead just like
Artemisia.
Yeah, he's instead just a lackey. I'm not a big fan of that at all. I'm like, are you kidding me?
Mm-hmm.
Like that's what you go with?
By the way, can I give one big criticism I gave for 300? Except for Butler, there's so many of the actors I can't tell them apart.
Yeah, they do kind of look alike, right?
Like I can't tell which is Fassbender sometimes.
Yeah, exactly.
If I didn't know his name from looking up on Wiki and be like, okay, remember when they say his name, I would have been like, wait, who's who?
Parker asked, did the Spartans have a 2-king system? At one point they did. I don't think if that was like a standard thing, but I know at one point they did.
Right, but you gotta get what I'm saying. It's just like, so if it wasn't for Butler, you would just be like,
Hey, what's up, John? What's up, man? But yeah, I'll give you that. But everything else, it's like, again, I read the comic after watching the movie, and let me tell you,
yep,
I was shocked. And John says yes, they had 2 kings. Okay, but I was shocked. Well, I didn't know how closely the movie was to the comic. I was like, oh God, what?
By the way, did you know that the movie is based off a comic, which was based off another movie?
Oh, really?
300 Spartans.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So it's like
it's movieception.
It is. You had the original. Okay, you had the original Legend of 300. Then you had 300 Spartan, which inspired Frank Miller to do his own 300, which inspired Zack to do his own 300.
That's great. I love that. That is so
well, it's based on history, but the initial following was from the 300 Spartans movie, John.
I love, yeah. Well, yeah, of course. And this one is very much based on if I were to tell you a story and embellish the hell out of it.
Exactly. Because, Frank would not have done 300 just because of the history alone. He only would have done it if he had saw 300 Spartans first.
Well, yeah, exactly. And it's like, I do like that for the most part, even though it includes some fantastical elements, they keep it very grounded. And I mean, both the comic and the movie, because when you're dealing with this type of stuff, there is the temptation to like go, and the gods were watching. No, it's like, no, this is straight up something short of the giant elephants that could happen right now. Well, back then.
I mean, if you could, basically, let's put it this way. If you can have giant elephants in Lord of the Rings.
Yeah. Parker asked, how did you guys feel about the Persians portraying this movie compared to the historical counterparts? Here's what you have to understand about that, because Zack got called xenophobic for making the Arabs the bad guys, of course.
That was the original story.
And not only that, the story of 300, both all the legend, the book, whatever, is from the perspective of the Spartans. Of course, they're going to see the Persians as savages. It would be the same way along. And then he goes, and no, this is a legendary historical story. It's been taught in military history since forever.
No, but John, what I'm saying is Frank would not have done this if he hadn't seen the movie.
Yeah, exactly.
That is what I'm saying. Obviously, he looked into it, but he wouldn't have done it if he hadn't seen the 300 Spartans first.
Yeah, what probably happened is he saw the movie, was like, I should do a comic based on that.
This is based off of history? I gotta look into it. Oh, I want to do my own rendition.
Yes, you go. Oh, writer Alan Moore has criticized 300 as being historically inaccurate. It's a legend, bro.
Okay, John, do you know that for certain?
Yeah, do you know that for certain? But by Miller in the latest page of the series replied to the accusations of homophobia from a reader regarding the phrase "these boy lovers." He says, "If I allowed my character to express my own attitudes and belief, my work would be pretty damn boring. If I wrote to please grievance groups, my work would be propaganda."
By the way, Frank saw 300 Spartans at the age of 6.
Okay, that makes sense.
Oh, yeah, he would not have.
And then John says it's like saying people would not make a Cleopatra movie without seeing the movie.
That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that for a fact, Frank got his inspiration at the age of 6.
Because has Frank directly said that it was inspired by the 300 Spartans movie?
Yeah.
He
saw it as a boy. He saw that.
Yeah, and yeah, John, we're not disputing that. It's just we're disputing where Frank got his own inspiration for writing the comic. He
saw it as a boy, and he wanted to, and it became an obsession.
Yeah, there you go.
It's not like he saw it as an adult and then got it. He saw it as a 6-year-old kid.
Yeah, exactly. And it says here 300 was particularly inspired by the 1962 film The 300 Spartans, a film he watched as a young boy.
Exactly.
So that's what we're talking about with that. And
could he have found out about it later in life? Maybe, but we'll never know.
Yeah, and here's the thing: it's like just because he was like obsessed with it per se from a kid, as soon as like he got into more like other stuff, he could have like read up on it, which he clearly did.
Yeah, but again, it all I'm saying is 300 Spartan was the catalyst.
Yeah, exactly. It's just like 300 is the reason why I love Spartans. So there you go.
Exactly.
And it canonically is the reason why Master Chief exists in Halo.
Right.
So there you go. But yeah, as I was saying, it's like this was back in the time when. How would you describe Frank's artwork in this series? Because it's gruff and grungy, but that works for this.
It's the lead into his Sin City. This is post Dark Knight Returns, pre Sin City. That's what I would call it.
Yeah, exactly. And the art it's like, when would you say the art really goes down? Dark Knight 2?
Dark Knight 2. No, I have to agree with what Carmen said. He started writing Sin City and then he never stopped.
Okay, I can kind of see that.
Sin City kind of damaged him. It was great for Sin City. Didn't work for other things.
I see. That makes sense. But yeah. And by the way, you see inspiration for 300 even in DC with the Amazons.
Yeah, definitely.
And by the way, it's like watching Zack Snyder's Justice League. You know what I was thinking? I could actually see Zack Snyder doing it. Imagine if for the DCU, Zack gets to direct an Amazons movie. Bro, I got a crazy idea. Are you ready?
Go ahead.
Hear me out on this. All right. In the same way that like they could improve Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow with a new writer, imagine Zack Snyder directing Amazon's Attack.
You really want Amazon Attack to be that
and
early
fixing
on?
It. No. Not early on. Not early on. Later on down the line. And what? They actually do it well.
True, but that'll be a case of you just take the general idea of Amazon's attacking and that's it.
Yeah, you could do that and just call it you can even make it like, let's say a third Wonder Woman movie, Wonder Woman, Amazon's Attack.
Okay.
Directed by Zack Snyder. Because it's like, you can tell he definitely took like his like 300 knowledge into like the ZSJL and such.
Right.
But yeah, but it's like overall with this series, it's like 300 is like one of those classic comics that I think really everyone should read at one point. And here's the thing. Yes, it's not accurate to the actual historical story, Alan Moore. No SHIT. It's a graphic novel that's a fantasy version of it. I love where everyone was like, it's not historically accurate. And I go,
No,
it's not
crap.
supposed to be.
It's supposed to be a legend of it.
And here's how you know, Robert, who's telling the story in 300? A Spartan soldier that's like trying to, here's the context. Because remember, so Leonidas sent that one soldier back because he was a good orator and he could rally a crowd. So of course he's going to embellish so that he can get people, yeah, let's go to war.
Yeah.
Actually, you know what? I gotta play I'm gonna play this. I also love where they're watching the Persian fleet get like hammered by Zeus, and they're like this. That's so freaking good. Yeah! Only one among us maintains his Spartan resolve. Our king. That's so bad. And by the way, again, that's the other thing. The narration in the movie is so well done.
It is.
It's basically like you're reading a comic. And you know what's kind of funny? It's a lot of reasons why 300 is like one of the movies that like even Zack's haters are like, yeah, 300 is pretty good.
Yep, agreed.
Yeah, and 300 is actually my first comic book, my first Zack Snyder movie.
Nice.
We were watching it on the way to Disney World when I was 11.
There's a time.
There's a combination. I know, right? That was great. That was great. But I'm going to actually play the Athena trailer before we do some more discussion. So let's do that.
My home has been invaded, my people slaughtered, and I could not do anything to stop it. Not again. I will not lose another home, another family. I am Princess Lyra of the planet Centragon, Athena, the goddess of thunder, and this is my story.
So back Athena on Kickstarter, we are still funding. But anyway, and you'll see a lot of 300 inspiration in Athena, particularly in like one of my characters that I think everyone is.
Yeah, I've seen that. Yep.
It's pretty obvious. But yeah, so let me ask you this, Robert. I know this is obvious, and you probably brought this up. Which of the two do you prefer, 300 or Xerxes?
300, obviously.
Yeah, it's like I still haven't read Xerxes. It's like I have to like will myself to it. Maybe one day I'll do like a big read through when I read through both. But it's like it's because here's the thing. I get why they wanted to make a sequel to it, but the thing is, 300 really works as a standalone story. It doesn't need a sequel.
Yep, but Frank wanted. Now I don't know if Frank wanted to do the sequel on its own or was he encouraged by Zack to do it.
Wait, Zack encouraged him to do it?
I said we don't know. I said I don't know if.
Yeah, I would imagine.
It could go either way.
Barry. So, here's the interesting thing. So the movie came out 4 years before the comic. In other words, 302 came out 4 years before.
He wasn't done. He was working on it. He was in the middle of working on it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I'm wondering, like, was Frank too slow to get caught up?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. But it's like the thing about this particular like story. It's like the thing about the 300 story is that it's one of those tales that it's not meant to be like this is exactly how it happened. It's meant to be like a lesson that's basically like, hey, the few against the many. That's what this is supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like it's referenced every single time you have a numerically superior force going up against a numerically inferior force. That's just the way it works out with that.
Mm-hmm.
But so let me ask you guys this. So what you guys in the comments ask us any question. Let's do a Q&A on this. You guys can ask us any questions about 300, the Spartans, Wonder Woman. Even I'll open up to that because this is pretty Wonder Woman related. When you think about it.
Do not ask it about certain trailer that dropped. That'll be for tomorrow.
No, that's for tomorrow. And I answered a bunch of questions about it anyway on the gaming stream today. But yeah, save that for tomorrow for sure.
Agreed. I just wanted to bring that up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
You know, there's going to be some people who are going to ask.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But yeah, so ask us any questions about 300 or like anything with Wonder Woman. But so let me start with this. Let's sit this. Wait, what if Zack made a Wonder Woman movie similar to 300? What did you guys think that would be like? Lots of slow motion, that's for sure.
For good and for ill.
For good or for ill. Actually, I think that like Zack would like moderate a little bit, and I feel like Wonder Woman would be very snarky like she is in his movies instead of like because if you notice again, Zack's Wonder Woman, when he managed her, she had that certain like attitude, like when she gets knocked back by Doomsday and she had smiles.
Yep, I love that.
Or I don't think you've ever known a woman like me. And I go, that's Diana right there.
Interesting question, Parker.
Do you guys think that the Spartans are Greek warriors during their time, or do you think they
are
warriors? Great warriors. There's been back and forth on that for a while. I would imagine they would have to be great warriors because of the like insane amount of like time they put into the armed forces.
I would say they were, but they were not going to last forever.
Because what happened immediately after this is you had the Peloponnesian War, which was Sparta versus Athens, and Sparta won that war, and then that's when Alexander showed up.
Right, but would you agree with what I just said about but when you look at it though, it wasn't going to last forever.
Oh yeah, it was definitely living on borrowed time for sure. So it's like
they were great in their era.
Yeah, for their time period, they were like the crazy guys and the like full and the like most elite warriors at the time.
Mm-hmm,
right,
definitely.
So there's a story. So the Spartans actually did engage in homosexuality. The idea is that if you were like in a campaign and then you like you don't have any orders and you don't know what to do or what to protect your lover. So there's this great story of so the Spartans were preparing for battle, and the night before battle they all like have a big orgy, and on the Persian side was one of the former Spartan kings, and the Persian scouts show up and go wait a minute, and go, they were all just having sex. It's like this is gonna be the easiest fight in the world. And then the Spartan king was like, oh no, they're saying goodbye to each other, we're screwed. That's what that is. So that was kind of the idea, and I'm like, okay, that's really cool.
Yep. Like, uh-oh.
Yeah, it's like, oh no, gay sex. Don't tell Critical Drinker. But that was always one of the like parts that like Zack got heat for the boy lovers comment. He goes, I can't go real. Oh, wait. Are the Amazons in Greek myth connected to Spartans in any way? As I seem to recall in Sparta, Ares is highly praised in Sparta, unless I got my information wrong. I believe so. In Greek myth, in actual Greek myth, the Amazons are the daughters of Ares, literally the daughters of Ares, mind you. And I believe the Spartans are like either the sons of Ares or they like worship Ares, obviously being like,
one or the other.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if they're connected to the Spartans, but I would imagine there would be something like that. Although on that Parker, the part that the second movie got right really well is the women were also trained to be warriors in the event the army got defeated. So
Yep.
Queen Gorgo with a sword at the end of the sequel, just hacking Persians, that's actually accurate.
Yep. And I gotta say, yeah, the way the ships were and everything, the warfare was well handled.
Where they had to like actually ram the actual ships and stuff. I'm like, oh,
that was the other problem though with the movie, is that it was too long. It was just two big battles.
Yeah, that was the other thing. It wasn't as well paced as the previous movie. Yeah, thank you, Jay Heat. This is Sparta. Exactly.
Sparta.
I just realized, why don't I have that as a drop?
Good question.
I'm like, wait a minute here.
But this isn't funny.
Lois is lame. In ancient Greek society, women were meant to be moms and caretakers, if I recall. While in Sparta, they do take care of the children, act as mother, but also train. Yes, exactly. They still do, and they actually take care of a lot of the governance while the men are away. But again, they're to use Batman's terms, contingency plans in the event that the army is defeated.
Because people would expect them to be the weaklings.
Yeah. Oh, and by the way, I want to emphasize something because people have argued with me about this. The Spartan, the force that fought the Persians was not necessarily just the 300 Spartans. So people saying, oh, 300 Spartans fought the Persians. Yeah, that's a story. Okay. What actually happened is that it was 300 Spartans, but it was 300 Spartans augmented by other Greeks, as we saw in the movie. What is your profession?
Yep.
It's that. But so it's like when people argue about that, it's like, I'm like, what are you doing? It's like, I remember a historical, like, a YouTube channel I follow called History Hit. Yeah, exactly, Parker. In fact, when Spartans are being trained, so you're taken from your homes at age 6 for the agoge, and you're like in the army. And what happens is like one of the rituals for Spartan training is you're supposed to essentially
sorry, he keeps saying that.
Yeah, I know. They're supposed to go. I'm trying to figure out how to phrase this. Okay, yeah. They go to like this area in the hills, and essentially they're just supposed to live off the land, kind of like in the movie, in the comic. But they're allowed to kill and murder and stuff because it's like you have to be willing to kill. And in fact, if you were caught stealing in Spartan culture, you would be beaten not for stealing, but because you were caught stealing.
Yep.
That's the thing. It's like essentially with Spartans, if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying.
And if you ain't getting away with it.
Yeah, exactly. So that's 300. How would you rate the comic?
9 out of 10.
It's a 9 out of 10 for me. And the movie, I have to give it 10 out of 10 because of what that led to with like my experience and like my like love for Zack Snyder films. So I kind of have to.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, how do you rate the first movie?
So 9 out of 10. It matches it perfectly.
Second movie.
Oof.
I give it probably a
3 or 4.
That low?
Yep.
God,
it was boring.
I was about to say a 5.
It was boring.
Man, you have no tolerance for boredom.
No, I don't, dude.
Which I can't blame you.
Boring is worse than bad. Because at least bad you can get some enjoyment out of.
Like he must not be named Superman. Be on the lookout for our Super Pals episode because we're gonna be talking about BMB Superman. I've been waiting for this.
You're gonna have to bleep me out, dude.
I've been waiting for this. Oh, this is gonna be so much fun.
You're gonna have to bleep me out so many times, dude.
So that's Super Pals. And as for movie night's gonna be Aquaman 2. We may do it on Sunday. I'll update you guys, but
that'll be the grand finale.
Yeah, exactly. You have the DCEU, and then we'll decide what we want to do. What if they're not going to bring back the Wonder Woman game?
No,
unfortunately.
No,
I'm just
they
going to tell you
can't.
that right there.
They can't. They might do a new one, but that's not bringing back the game.
Yeah, exactly. But and as for could anyone write a story of an Amazon going to Sparta or something like that? Well, yeah, it's like if you would have wanted to. I mean, there have been plenty of DC comic stories that deal just with the Amazons. Like Grievo did this fantastic Amazon prequel story about like a tribe of Amazons that were like the Amazon Odyssey. I love it. Anyway, and as for Super Wonder Legacy, Britt and I will be comparing Superman and Wonder Woman to John Carter of Mars and Deja Thoris. In other words, Superman's grandfather, essentially. His forefather.
Basically. Well, Golden Age. Let's be specific. Golden Age Superman.
Yeah, you know, it's one of his forefathers. So there's that. But yeah, and Robert, how about you? And by the way, back Athena, we have 8 more days to go. Again, if I don't get funded, I'll just relaunch with a smaller goal. The book is still coming out. Okay, go
I got enough PTNs linked down below. I have enough PTNs in the can. I'm building up to 650, where I will cover Dan Slott's Silver Surfer.
Oh hell yeah, that's a great idea.
And then when I get to 666, I will then cover iZombie. In other words, my Goran's gonna get all the love.
Exactly. And Don J asked if we had seen the John Carter of Mars movie. I saw it. I'll tell you what. Here's what we should do. After Aquaman, in other words, next Saturday, let's do John Carter.
Okay.
I've never reviewed it.
That deserves so much love.
Honestly, that is one of the most underrated movies I have seen in a while.
Agreed. But
yeah, the movie's great, so we'll talk about that for sure. But anyway, stay heroic, everyone. Remember, Lois Lane is Lois Lane. She belongs to General Zod or with Xerxes. There you go. I got it. Oh, Lurxes. Zois and Max are bad for life. We will see you all later. Bye-bye.